He's dying.
Oh, green.
Dave. Dave's dying, everybody.
Oh my goodness.
This is episode 56, and it's all about
Oh,
coughing out phlegm.
whew.
Dave,
Sorry
how's
about
your phlegm looking?
sorry about that, guys.
How's your phlegm looking?
I'm dying over here. Chris was dying last week, and now I'm
Look,
dying this week.
look, my phlegm looks like this, and your phlegm looks like that.
The color of this daggone shirt right now, and it's crazy because I was actually in Paw Paw, West Virginia this weekend on a client's property, and it was nothing but mountains. And I think I must have been getting some sort of chest thing because when I went there, it was all hills, climbing it. I'm winded, and I think it had accelerated what I was kind of getting because
You was huffing that cold air.
the very next day, my throat or my chest was kind of crackly, and then Monday, it's just sore throat and um, some sort of chest issue going on, but we're working through it.
Well, this is what, the 17th.
Yeah.
I started I started with COVID on the 3rd.
Hmm.
I'm 2 weeks in,
Yep.
so trying to get better.
Yeah. So
I'm
anybody
almost there.
listening, pardon my voice. It's a little froggy right now, but we'll work through it here. So today we're going to talk about signs to look for. Uh, it can be related to public and private land, and then and this is for scouting. When you start getting into the springtime and summer and a little bit into the fall, basically general rules of thumbs for things to look for. And then we'll finish it up with uh, some this scouting now because there's a lot of people doing it, especially with all this snow. I'm in Maryland. We got a bunch of snow, and most of the area's got snow. So we'll talk about the guys scouting in the snow and what that actually means or could help or hurt your situation. Yeah,
Uh
you
huh.
awake over there?
What he said.
All right. So why don't we jump into scouting or what to look for, signs? What type of signs are we looking for on private land? What are you
Well,
looking for?
first of all, I start I start scrapes, mock scrapes and stuff early. I get them out no later than June. I start running
Hmm.
that stuff, and I'm putting out trail cameras about that time because about that time, anyhow, I have cameras situated dual purpose. I'm out there trying to get pictures of bears because that's the bear mating season is you know May, June, July, somewhere falls in between there, the bear rut. So I'm trying to get cruising bears on pictures to see what's out there, take an inventory, see if I got any bear action on the properties I hunt. And at that point, like I said, I'm situating cameras for them, and I'm running mock scrapes about that time. So trying to take inventory that way too. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for existing scrapes a lot of times, and I will usually take over an existing scrape, start juicing it up a little bit, and using a little urine in it, using a little smokies, using some branch butter or smokies, preorbital, something like that on the upper branches, licking branches, and that's how I start my scouting for the year. I usually wait till about then, to be
Yeah, you're
honest.
just you're just getting you're just trying to see the inventory of what's around
Yep, I start
buckwise.
I start the inventory. Um, I'm walking existing trails, seeing if they're beat. Um,
And where those trails go to and from.
yeah. Now I hunt. Obviously, there's no ag or food around the mountain that I hunt, so I'm trying to backtrack these trails and see where they're coming from. Trying to get back towards a bedding area or something. And no harm, no foul back in June or July if you bump some deer. So it's not a big deal at that point, I don't think. So I'm out there cruising. I'm looking for thick areas, looking for bedding areas and things, looking for any available uh, food that I could find. That's a good time to find your beech trees or your white oaks and things because you're leafed up now. See, because I have a hard time uh, telling what trees are which if there's no leaves on them just by looking at the bark.
Hmm.
Uh, except for the obvious ones. But I mean, there's city kid here. He don't know all his tree bark. So it takes some leaf up for me to figure out what kind of trees are out there. So I'm looking for food sources that way for nut trees. Uh,
You say that it's easier for me to identify by bark than it is
really,
leaves. Yeah.
see, I gotta have the leaves on, man. Unless I
Let
got
me.
my phone and if I have my phone and I got my app and I can take a picture and I got some
Mhm.
internet, or you know, I got I can get some data going there.
Let's ask this real quick. On the mountain where you hunt,
Hmm.
you've killed, like in the past, what, 4 years, you've killed like three good ones.
At least, yeah.
Okay. So thinking of that, um, and with your inventory in the summer,
Hmm.
have you killed a buck that you've had on camera in the summer?
Once.
Okay.
I
Now the
one time I I have in fact I made a post about it because I actually had a picture of a bear and a buck inventoried going back through my pictures and I found the buck that I killed and the bear that I killed.
okay.
Pretty neat.
So you had that buck picture in the summer and you
I
killed
did.
it in the fall.
Yes.
The other bucks that you have seen on camera, have
Yes.
you seen them during the
Not
season?
a lot.
Okay.
So, doing inventories, just seeing what's out there
Mhm.
doesn't mean you're going to see them come archery
Yeah.
season.
So they're disappearing. They're going
Oh
somewhere
yeah,
else.
yeah, they're headed they're somewhere else. And that's one of the reasons why we want to do this podcast is because at different times of the year when you're scouting, deer are in different patterns
Mhm.
and they where they're at in June and July, they may not be in September or October
Mhm.
because I get all fired up and I get these humongous bucks on camera all summer. And I share them with Dave a lot. I don't put them on the internet or nothing, but I share these nice pictures with Dave. We shoot pictures back and forth all summer, and I mean I've got some freaking hammers on camera. I mean probably pushing 160, 170. Some of these, or at least that's what they look like with the velvet on, anyhow. And then it seems like when they go to rubbing the velvet off, they disappear.
Mhm.
And
Now
a
that's
lot of them,
public. That's public land.
yeah, probably 90% of them I never see again.
Mhm.
You
Well,
know,
let's keep that in mind. Let's jump to private. Now you have a private piece that you hunt
yeah.
your mother-in-law's where
Hmm.
you food plot it and all that good stuff.
Yes.
You've had a lot of bucks in there during the
Yes.
summer, and they stayed.
They do stay. They
That's
do
why I
stay.
wanted to bring. That's why I asked that question.
Yes, there's such a difference when you get private land that's not that's not pressurized by the surrounding properties, you know, uh, and there's good bedding nearby, and there's a swamp nearby, and I supply the food, obviously. I mean, because directly adjacent, there's not even good browse, to be
Mhm.
honest, but they're heading to my destination plots.
Right.
And if I'm getting them on camera in the summertime, I will probably, and I'm just guessing, I'm probably going to see about 60% of those same ones from the summer in archery season.
Mhm.
I don't think that's exaggerating.
Well,
So I
that's why
had a
I'm at.
lot of nice ones on camera all summer. And like I'm trying to say is I probably kept about 60% of them.
So I'm asking these questions because my throat's rough. So you're going to do most of the talking here. But
That's all right.
um, that's why I asked the difference between that two. But
Definitely difference. Definitely.
let's talk about the difference. Why in the mountain where you're hunting on public land do you see the deer in the summer and then the fall they pretty much disappear, but on private land you see them in the summer, quote unquote summer food doe factory, but you're holding the deer in the summer, not holding them, but you're attracting them in the summer,
Yeah. Track.
but they're also there in the fall. So
Yeah.
let's break the difference down on why the deer could possibly, nobody really knows, but why they're possibly leaving the area that you're scouting in the summer on public, but they stay on private in the fall.
I I do know one definite reason.
It's all speculation.
You know, I do know a reason over on the mountain, and one of the reasons is as the crow flies within a mile, there's camps, and all summer long these camps are feeding. They're putting out bird food. They're putting out corn cribs and stuff. So I get a lot of action from the deer crossing, uh, going across going across the saddle that I have the camera set on. And I mean, you're literally I'll get pictures of squirrels sometimes with a half of a ear of corn in their mouth. So they're traveling that far, crisscrossing to get some feed. So that is one of the definite reasons why. Um,
Plus, you got the human pressure situation.
well, when the weekends are here and the campers are up and they're carrying on, they're loud, and the area I live is a tourist trap. It's all camping resorts. You can pull camper up and tent or have a camper, or I'm over a bend on a river and they rent canoes there, so it's loud and you can hear the aluminum canoes and you know people screaming and fishing and carrying on and swimming. I mean, there's a lot of action
It
all
triggers
around
you.
this area. It triggers me, all right, especially if it's hunting season and they're still loud. But what ends up, like I said, what ends up happening, I see them in the summer, but it's it's daylight or before dark. They're moving. They're heading to or coming back from those feeders a lot of times, and obviously that's gone come hunting season. That has to be removed and gone, and that is one of the reasons why the action slows down so much, and you just get the local deer, not the
I'm
travelers. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, I'm putting you to the test today. So, um, on the mountain, is there
Hmm.
is there oaks?
They're behind me where I hunt. I hunt over a ridge top, and they seem to bed down low towards the river in the thicker stuff. And so I set up uh, just below the bench, and behind me is a white oak flat.
There are tons of
I mean,
tons of
it's
oaks.
obviously it's mixed with other oaks and maple and all kind of mixtures, but majority of it is oak. And they
Is
seem they seem to come uphill in the fall
to get
when
the
the
food.
yes, when the acorns start dropping, and that's why I'm there.
So they're bedding
Yes,
lower, and then
lower.
the food is up high.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep, and it's the top, it's at the top of the mountain, so
right. That's in
that's
mountain country.
that's getting that canopy is getting the sun on
Hmm.
top. Now the side hills predominantly is more laurel and pine,
Rhododendron.
yes, and rhododendron. And so you have lower nutritious. low, low on the mountain. But they like to go down, and they like to be near the water. They like to bed down in the thick stuff. So
Okay, so public land or private land, sorry, where you're at, and we're talking about the buck staying there.
yes,
What,
it's more of a flat land.
yeah, what are we doing there, and is there any oaks?
It's more of a flat land, and there's a couple pieces around me. Like I said, I have a swamp, and coming in my road, there's a bunch of land that's just unmolested. It hasn't been timbered in a long time, and yeah, there's oak mixture in there. Um,
Now you talking about this swamp, are you saying, like, where I would turn right onto your street, it'll be on the right-hand side?
I'll be over more towards my in-laws road.
Okay. So how far is that swamp where do you know they're bedding there?
Oh yeah, I used
Okay.
somebody dumped a house in down there below Ed's, and that kind of cut off some of my hunting. You know,
So how far is that? So how far are they traveling from that swamp to your food plot?
I mean, if you followed the gas line straight down in, which is actually a pretty easy walk for them, just to walk a gas line, you could be from the destination plot. You could walk 400 yards,
Okay,
maybe.
so it's flat and they're bedding near in or near the swamp, which I'm
Yes.
sure is full of some browse and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they're traveling up to 400 yards to get to your food plot.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's the difference. Mountain land, pure mountains, they're bedding down low on the side hills.
Hmm.
They're walking up, working their way up through the benches and saddles or whatever point there is,
Yep.
getting to the oaks because that's all that's really up there. And
Yeah.
then they may go somewhere later during the night feeding on something. But
Hmm.
private land, you have a food plot, which is like 2 acres or so,
Hmm.
and then it's flat.
Hmm.
They're bedding in or around the swamp on flat land, and they're traveling up to 400 yards
Yeah,
to get to your
400 or
food
less.
source,
Yeah.
400 or less, and they're there before dark.
Yep.
And the bucks that were there in the summer primarily were there in the fall, on, kind of not every day, but majority of the days of the week they were there.
Yep.
Um,
My
so
target buck last year was shot across the road
right.
from my destination plot on my side of the road. Okay.
Hmm.
But if you go down the road, swamp on both sides. So I know they're bedding in the swamps. So the lucky owners across the road know that also. And
They killed your
he
dream.
he did. She did. The little
She did.
girl the little
Killed
girl
your dream.
crushed my dreams.
Stole your thunder, like you stole
She-
my thunder when you killed my sick buck.
Stop it.
Kill you.
She killed my dreams with a crossbow.
Hmm.
11 points.
Yep.
And I watched that deer and fed that deer all summer, and it hop, skip, and a jump as the crow flies less than 200 yards to that swamp.
So you're telling me you had summer food all spring and summer long, and it didn't push all the bucks away?
No, I actually
I'm ready for
had the
drama.
opposite.
I'm ready for drama today.
Well, this will stir it up because everybody talks about a dough factory with spring and summer food plots, and
Well, it's
if
not.
you
It's not everybody. It's one guy.
well, they all follow him though,
I'm ready.
and
I'm
and
ready for
they
controversy.
they all agree with him because he said it, and he's been doing this since the late '80s, early '90s. You know, that's his favorite catchphrase. So I keep food 365. There's something growing all year long, even if it's just clover and chicory. There's something in the dirt. And on top of that, there's another 18 acres there that I keep mowed. So there's always fresh, tender something growing on top of the 2 acres of my own plot. So there's 20 acres of destination there for them, really. Um, so they want to be there. It's the greenest stuff around
Hmm.
because I don't have any participating farmers anymore. They're either old or dead. So where was I going? Oh, so I even had one of the neighbors say to me, and I told him, I said, hey, would you want to shoot some does this year? He said, oh, I got a couple doe tags. I said, okay. I said, cool. I said, would you mind shooting some does right here around your house? He's like, well, I could. I'm like, well, why don't you? I said, because we kind of have a doe problem here, you know, um, around the houses. I'm talking. Now, first words out of his mouth was, oh, we got too many does. They're going to push off all the bucks. We're not going to see any bucks. I said, I think you've been watching YouTube too much. He goes, what do you mean? I said, just what I said. I said, you've been listening to somebody that doesn't understand our situation here. and, and I just left it at that, and that we just went on to a different conversation. But I had much the opposite happen this year. I had a buck problem, and it wasn't a problem at all to me. But I was seeing more bucks in a night than I was does this
Hmm.
year. Now, obviously, I have not been practicing buck management over there. I mean, as far as harvesting, every year I go over and I kill a doe and I go hunt bucks on the mountain. I haven't shot a buck over there in 4 years. Well, this year I had some very nice bucks on camera and some that I was willing to shoot. And
Wait till
I
this fall.
I had yeah, this fall's gonna be redunculous. I mean, there's gonna be a Godzilla around every tree, I think,
Hmm.
you know, because I had some great up and coming, 6 points and stuff this past year. Next year they're gonna be just bigger. So I mean, there's gonna be a lot of bucks running around really soon. I mean, there was I was when I finally committed, like, and got tired of not shooting anything, and it was time to start shooting does. I had to really look them over because everything was a button buck or a small spike, you know, or a little 3 or 4 point coming. I had to really look deer over this year before I started shooting the does because it just seemed like you know it was better than 50%. I had
Hmm.
it was 50-50 or better. There was a lot of nights. How many nights did I text you and tell you I can't get out of the tree? I'm stuck.
Almost every night.
Yeah, I stayed in the tree a lot of nights till it was 8:30, quarter to 9 at night. And because I was pinned in, because I had 4 or 5 bucks in front of me eating,
Hmm.
and I didn't want to get out of the tree and bump them. So I waited them out. And it seems like they come in an hour before dark. They feed around and then they would feed off or just walk off. Why? I don't know. They're going to go lay down and chew cud, I guess. But it works out nice. If I wait them out, they'll leave.
Hmm.
So I would just wait them out. But yeah, I did not have a doe factory problem. I had much the opposite this year. I called it a buck factory.
Hmm.
But the neighbors, like he said, those all those dominant does are going to push off the bucks, and I just kept quiet.
Okay, so now that we kind of went on a rabbit hole with that, let's go back to finishing this up with the snow
Yeah,
and scouting in the snow
right.
and why it could be maybe a good idea, but also a bad idea because we are in mid-January. Primarily, hunting seasons are coming to an end. Maryland, we still got like a week or something left, but I mean, nobody's really hunting right now.
Yeah.
I think today's like 12 degrees, and everything over social media is scout, scout, scout. So, and with this cold temperatures, they want to scout, and we got snow on the ground. So let's kind of break down what the deer are doing now and how that could maybe not be a good idea for your by the time hunting season comes around in September, October, and November.
Yeah. I mean, I understand where everybody's coming from. They got cabin fever. There's nothing to hunt right now, and
And you can
they,
see where they're moving because it's
yeah,
snow.
and it's easy to go out and see where they've been. But the issue at hand is they're in a whole different mode right now. They're in survival mode. They're in a whole different pattern right now than what they're going to be in October, coming to a
Hmm.
food plot or to a scrape
Right.
or checking does or whatever. They're in a total different state of mind
They're
at this
herded
point.
up, survival mode.
You know,
They know.
they're probably not even bedding in the same areas
Yeah.
right now. They're in thermal cover somewhere,
Hmm.
So when you trace them back to a big patch of pines or something, they might. I'm not saying they won't be, but they may not be there in September and October bedding. It might be a
Well,
total different area.
I have a couple videos that I made a few years ago. I think some of them are titled like "Deer Know How to Survive" or something, and they do. Like when these type of situations come up, these really really cold temperatures and snow, they have places where they go where they know they can survive. And that may, like
Yeah,
you said, maybe in some cedars or pines where they breaks the wind or
yeah, thermal
um
covers. Yep.
yep, thermal covers or areas they know has some sort of like browse where they can browse on. And they might be browsing on cedars and eating pine needles or bark off a tree or whatever it is. They know where to go. So they herd up, they don't move much. They hunker down, conserve energy. They
Yeah,
may go out into the south facing slopes where you get good extra sun. So they're basically surviving right now.
yeah, yeah. And it. I guess what we were trying to say is it's kind of a false feeling that you found all these deer tracks and stuff and beds and things. Um, and I'm not saying just throw it out the window, don't do it.
Right.
I'm just saying that don't put all your stock in that. You know,
Some of it might be useful, but
yeah, some of it's gonna be useful, uh,
gives you a
but
general idea, but
don't
not
bank
the
on it.
yeah, not the whole picture.
Yeah, don't bank on it. I mean, what you find right now, you may not want to hang a stand over it late September, early October. It
Hmm.
might be very unproductive. Not saying it couldn't happen. There might be a couple that are still using that area or doing the same pattern or what. I don't know. But I'm just throwing the warning out there that I think a lot of people put too much stock in scouting right now. You know, I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool to go out right now and see if if they're still have a scrape opened up or, see where they're bedding, look what they're browsing on, all the tips of everything chewed off. I mean, yeah, that's neat to see that stuff and, see where they're coming and going and where they're headed. All cool stuff, shed hunting, some of the antlers are dropping already. All neat stuff. But as far as your hunt, is that telling you anything for October's hunt? I'm torn, you know. I
He's
don't I
torn.
don't I well, I don't think that's like very documentable information,
Hmm.
towards your hunting. Come 8 more months, we'll be hunting again,
I don't know. Coming quick.
you know.
Um, what? Let's finish it up there. And just announce again that February 3rd, we're going to be at the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I already had a few people reach out saying they're going to be there. They'd like to meet up or whatever and stuff. So anybody listening, if you're going, get a hold of me or Chris, and we'd like to meet up with you and give you a fist bump. No handshakes at the show, and
Right. We're already sick.
yeah, and we'll talk about hunting and any questions you guys may have or whatever you want to talk about. So that's
Yeah.
February 3rd, and it goes for 9 days, but we'll only be there the opening day, February 3rd. I'm not going back after that. So
No, I wouldn't.
yeah, so let
But
us know.
yeah, do some commenting too. Let us know what you want to hear about,
Hmm. Yep, sounds good.
so we have some more ammo to throw at you on these podcasts.
Yeah, podcast 56.
Okay, guys, we'll see you. Hopefully, we're
Later.
better next week.